Okay, so all are comfortable. You can see the slides, and if you have any issue in between, you please let me know. Yeah, I insist that this is a very important topic because you have been learning the mostly the software, the data, but we didn't cover many of the theoretical background behind that one. So we decided, this means our team, the RPs, we have decided that at least we will have a one lecture on the GIS, because that's what you are basically doing in the geoinformatics, a spatial analysis. And once you are familiar with some of the, you can say, data concepts, some of the spatial concepts, and the way the geographical information system works, then probably it will be easy for you to interpret your own data, your own application areas. So that's what so this is a very, very fundamental. Those who you are familiar with the GIS may find some of the things which are already you know, but nevertheless just be with us so that at least you will be on the same page after once the class is over. Okay, now I emphasize that this is, you have to have a little bit of idea about the geography if you are, because everybody has done in school the geography, but nevertheless once you are involved or engaged in other activities, you slowly forget many of the things. Because I had my experience of 21 years of teaching at IRI. I asked the students that what about latitude? They are not able to answer it properly. So these things are extremely important, because once you are doing a spatial analysis, all those theoretical background which you must understand in the general as a student or as a research scholar. So that's what the purpose. Okay, so I just ask you, these things are not a simple, a kind of, you can say, a general lecture, but this will also be applicable to wherever in application you will be working, your agriculture, water resources, any sort of plant protection measures, wherever. So when you are using the spatial analysis, you have to understand there are three things. One is, what is where, why is it there, and why do I care? These three questions you need to have answer of your own. So you have to answer ki what is where. That means you must have a locational data with you. So if you are going to have a yield mapping, you must have an way to take the locational information, and then based on the location, you have to have your characteristics. Like say there are many factors which is determining the yield. There are many factors to determining the disease outbreak. So all those things will come. But first the location is important. So that's one thing. Second is, you have to understand that why is it there. That means if you are very clear about what are the factors that are contributing to that particular phenomena, so then only you will start utilizing the data which is available, or start collecting the data which is not available. So that has to be very clear. And why do you care is that it is what is your goal, what you want to achieve. Whether you want to have a disease outbreak somewhere it is happening, you want to analyze that one, and you try to have your own understanding, and then you give your recommendation. Or it is a specific that if you are using a soil data for a general soil health assessment, so what will be your, after that what you will do. If you have that idea, it's not simply that preparing maps. If you have an idea that what is your plan to do that, then probably your factors which are instrumental in generating those maps will be more meaningful and more, you can say, fine-tuned. Okay, so geographic information system having three components: geographic, location, that's the geography. Information is there because you have a data. When you are transforming data into some meaningful, then only it becomes information. Just like you have, say, if I write 5 degrees centigrade, 25 meter, then the meter degree centigrade will tell the 5 and 25 are the data, but it's going to a meaningful way if we are adding something with that one. So that's information. And systems, definitely it is a working on a system mode. Just like we are in a general system, it's also works in it. It has data, it has software, it has hardware, it has a protocol or a standard methods, and also it has a different users who are contributing in developing these things. So all these things are making it as a system. Now this Jack Dengermond, he is a he has developed the ESRI. You probably have heard this name. It is Environmental Systems Research Institute in US, California. So this is a first institute who has developed a commercial GIS software. You know it as ArcGIS or ArcPro or ArcMap, anything, whatever. So this is what he's a philanthropist, he's a billionaire, and so he has developed. So what he says is that knowing where things are and why is essential for assembly. So this is what, on the basis of that one, he has started exploring these things. And nevertheless, after that, many softwares have come, and then now you get that there are many open source software. But he was the first person who has made the GIS into a very high level using his team. That's ESRI. Okay. Now, if you talk about the father of GIS, it's the Roger Tomlinson, who has done some work on in Canada. It was based on so just place it. So what he has done something relates to the land inventory system, and it is the extensive work, and he was the first person who has practically used the GIS in real sense. That means he has used the software, he has used the standard methods by which you'll begin. So that's why he is called the father of GIS. And now this definition, I don't want to just you can say explain all this definition, but this is important. There is something which I made in a red letter, a red color. So here the display is the most important. That means when you are preparing a map, then you are basically trying to make a visualization of the data in a raw form or in a cooked form. So once you have a raw form data, like say suppose you are having a remote sensing data, so you are displaying that one, so that's in a raw form. You use the remote sensing data by developing some indices by which you say about some of the what is called objects on Earth, so that becomes your cooked or becomes your interpreted data. So you have to keep in your mind about the display while you are using the GIS. So that's why it is immensely capable of the display. Rest of the things are only coming into the background. So that's what you are doing. But your main motto is to display your results. So that's important. Second is that according to user-defined specifications. So that means whenever you are using any GIS, so that's why again and again specifically tell you that use the R, okay, for specialization, because there you have so many flexibility of understanding the data, using the data in your own way, bringing the data, and then also manipulate the data in between. So that may or may not be fully available in any commercial software, even in QGIS, okay? But so you must have some your user-defined specification by which you will be using. In ArcGIS, you will find there are some customized systems where you can customize the way it is exploring this. Okay. So fine. So this is the definition given by the ESRI. I just wanted to. Yeah, okay. Now, let me just bring you a little bit of history, because this GIS concept, it has come, you have seen, I don't know, because you are all young people, so you might not have seen that. You have seen the Mylar sheets. Earlier, we used to have those sheets over which we will draw. Mylar sheets are all transparent sheets over which we prepare some tables, some graphs, or some you can say annotation, whatever. This is say for example some picture we are making, and then we are projecting. There is a projector through which we are projecting this Mylar sheets into a screen. So when you are projecting it onto a screen, then you will find it just like that, which is so. In the Mylar sheet, if you have, say for example, one land parcel, suppose your land boundaries is there, or your institute boundary is there, or your town boundary is there, and inside that you are placing where the schools are there in another Mylar sheet like dots. So if you place them together, so it will be appearing that the dots are within this particular town boundary or this thing. So this is the first concept through which the GIS has been developed. I told you in the last class that you have to keep in your mind the layer concept. The layer concept is very, very fundamental. So when you will be using the GIS, you must have in your mind how to segregate your data into different layers. So say for example, you are analyzing suppose you want to know that why in your particular field, or maybe a little bit of your say region, what is the yield, and you are analyzing the yield gap. So you are decomposing the yield. So you are trying to analyze what are the factors that are what is called influencing those yield differentiation. So you are expecting that the yield should be something like this, but you are getting this much. So there is a gap. So you are trying to bring some factors into that one. So what are the factors? Suppose we analyze the 5 factors. So all those 5 factors will be layers. So one, you are analyzing this one, so this has to be go as a layer, even if they have the similar entities. Like say I told you that we have point, we have line, and we have polygons, but there could be more than one point data. There could be more than one line data. So, but every one will be layered. So remember those minor concepts. Each transparent sheets having one particular objects located there, and then if you are putting all the minor sheets, then in the paper you will find, so there is a river, there is a school building, there is some land parcels, there are some this area or that area, like that. Okay, so this John Snow, he was a UK physician. So he used this while you were analyzing the cholera outbreak. So he was trying to see that how the cholera outbreak took place, and he found that there is a pumping water is at some place which is mostly pumping the water, and through these what is called water line, it is spreading. So whenever he has found the people are having cholera, so those are also, you see that there is a trend, there is a kind of, you can say basically a mapping kind of understanding all those dots which are having more than one cholera dates, and 5 and more than 10, something like that. So he has done this one. It is a GIS concept, but he has not used any software because that time it was not available either. It was only this Tomlinson who was used it was the first one. So this is just a history. Now some of the key moments. I told you about this person, that is your Jangarmore. So he has developed this ESRI, which is the first of its kind, the commercial software. And then this is Idrisi. I have used a lot during my my school, what is called university. So this was at that time it was available at a very low cost. So this was by the Clark Labs in US. So this is having both the what is called let me take one. Yes, okay, so this is having both the capability of image processing as well as a GIS. So this doesn't have a image processing as such. So this only deals with the GIS. So this timeline, so it starts from 1960s, just understanding these things, and then it goes simultaneously into say ESRI Maryland. So there are the commercial softwares came into picture, and they evolved over the period of time. They made ArcView, and there now this 2000 era. Then when we are starting analyzing the GIS in the cloud, then you have so many open source softwares which are developing. One of the very important sources is the OpenStreetMap. So this is what has revolutionized some of the aspects, because this is where you will be getting a very high resolution. The street map will find everything which is with your open eyes, which you see on the road. So this is very much used, and probably now you have the Google Maps also, it's available. So up to 2010, we will be just this area where we had a lot of applications which are using the open source. And then going to the future, these things already are into picture. WebGIS, you will be, today Dr. Prasun will be taking one class about that, the applications of the GIS and how it is taking into the web for normal other persons demonstration, for interactive mapping kind of thing. Now this NASA, so they have made many things available, and I forgot to give one thing. What is that? Copernicus, ECA, European Space Agency, their Sentinel data. This is the it's called logo of QGIS, and all these things are made nowadays. Is GIS is a very useful and very sophisticated technique for your spatial analysis. Okay, now some of the very basic things. So these layer concepts have analyzed you. I told you that this way you will be analyzing the data. So you have a real world data, and then you are trying to generate all those layers. You are just trying to bifurcate these things into several 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever layers are possible. So you differentiate, and then you make into a layer, and then get into the real world. Similar in your any sort of your application area. And you have to take into account of all those components. Why I am saying is that because it is not something that it's a tool only that you are just open some module and you start using that one. You have to take advantage of everything whatever available under the sky. So these two components are the most important. You must have a hardware, you must have a software, and nowadays almost everybody is having a good computing system, like say a good laptop or desktop which is having a good computing facility. So these things may not be much your problem until unless you are using data which are you can say very there are more storage space is required, or it's a very large region basis, then you probably need to get into some of the systems which will allow you to do that. But for your own area, using the software like say QGIS or Snap, then you can use it very well in your laptop to a certain extent, but not to that where you will have lots of data which are available, and then you are bringing those things, then you may not be able to. But nevertheless, so these these two are the most important of course. Now, why are all those three others? Then the data is, I said that this is the core component, because without the data you cannot have this one, and there your intelligence, your you can say understanding of your system, this is important. So how to collect the data, this is the very important part. Now methods, initially you have to be there. That's why we are taking this training program. So you will first start following certain protocols. You have your own idea, if your own manipulation, these things will come. But first try to understand a very good well-designed plans and rules by which you will do. People is now a component which is added, okay, after 20th, because earlier we used to do something a standalone computer system. You are doing somewhere, I'm doing somewhere. There is no such kind of, you can say, exchange of our ideas, exchange of even the materials. So now it is very much there. So if you are in one part of the globe, and if somebody is another part of the globe, and if you are doing the same project, there is absolutely no problem. You can exchange your whatever information you have, you can exchange your ideas, you can always talk, you can always meet them online. So that's why the people is important. So why I specifically say, because you are all application scientists, you have to understand that when you are applying GIS or geoinformatics into your own areas, there must be something which is beyond your understanding. So you bring people, talk to them, understand this particular subject, and make it into your understanding. That is the spatial analysis which you want to do. That's very important. So say for example, if you are in an institute where you have many departments which are all associated, then you will have a better you can say access to the people in order to discuss with them. But if you are suppose in a specific institute and you need some intellectual input into that one, some experts comments into that one, so you have to do that while you are using the GIS, and this is also very important nowadays. Okay, now coming to some of the, you can say, background by which the maps are being made. So this is a science which is known as geodesy, and this is a very highly advanced science. What is that? Because when you see about the Earth, you see it as a general idea that it's a sphere, but it's not a sphere. As you know that there is this bulging at the equator. It is around 21 kilometer, something like that. So 21 kilometer more here compared to the north-south distance. So that means it is bulging here and it is tapering at the north and south pole. This is all our school book knowledge. So here you have two axes. One is major axis, which is a larger, and is minor axis. Okay, so this makes an ellipsoid. So what is an ellipsoid? Ellipsoid is a geometric, that's a geometric propagation of R. So it's simple geometry. So the geometry says ellipsoid, then the geometry. Ellipsoid is explained in a mathematical way. There are formulas to do that one. So it's a well-established geometrical shape which you can bring into mathematical model. But the things are not that simple. So this is important because at least you have to have one simple mathematical understanding of the shape of the Earth. So we understand that it's an ellipsoid. But it is more to that. What is that? So you know that there is a satellite called GIS, which is a NASA satellites, and basically this is a combination of this is a you can say collaboration between NASA and also German space agency. So they have there's a gravity measurements. So they made the gravity, and you see that they have prepared this kind of map where you can find that there are some different colors. So some colors are denoting that it's a gravity is less, and some colors are denoting the gravities are more. So I don't have to explain the gravity, you all know. So as the gravities are different, so basically your movements of everything over the Earth is also different. So this is by ESA, this satellite. This is of the gravity and ocean circulation. Okay, so this satellite. So this is developed by ESA, and they have made a map. And in the map, you will find it is a gravitational field of the Earth. So this is also there. So once you are explaining the ellipsoid, it's a simple mathematical or geometrical shape. So it's a very simple. So you are bringing into a mathematical consideration. Here you have a reality that your gravity is real thing, and so you have a gravitational surface that's called a gravitational field surface or geoid. And then you have a terrain also that you are moving over a particular place. Then you will finding that there are ups and downs. So you will go to the north, then you will go to the hills, you can go to the mountains, you will go to the ocean. So there will have a down, and then you go up, something like that. Even at a micro scale, even at a micro scale. So you will find this terrain. So I map these three things together. And also you will have a mean sea level also. The mean sea levels are also important in order to give you a altitude concept. So you have to have a standard one. Otherwise, how the altitude? Because it's always varies. So you have to have a standard one. So that's why there is a standard mean sea level, and mean means it is of over the several years. And so this you will always get an altitude which is from the mean sea level. So you have all those complications are there. And depending on where you are situated, all those terrain, your geoid, mean sea level, ellipsoid will be either your down or your up. Suppose you are here, so all these things will be up. You are at the top of a mountain, and if you are here, then you are on the ellipsoid. But definitely all those other things are going down. So this is called typical oblique. There is nothing that one is going up, another is going down. So it is all moving ups and downs, and then they are also entangled. So that's the oblique. So this brings the things a very incomplex. So I'm just trying to give you a kind of, you can say, an exposure to how the things are. So you need not to go into detail of that one, but you understand that when you are projecting globe or your area onto a map, you need to consider all these things. How to do that? So how the shape of the Earth can be demonstrated, how the shape of the Earth you can bring into your own analysis. Yeah, of course the GIS is doing that one, but how it is doing at the background. So it's in a simplified way. So what is the message from here? That you are mostly considering these two things. One is ellipsoid and geoid, as nowadays most of the cases we are following this geoid in order to make the surface feature. Okay, now the next one. Yeah, okay. Because then when you come into, so this is the one part which is known as so there are two things I forgot to mention, that there are two words. One is known as datum, DATEM, datum, and another is known as projection. So datum is, in a simplified way, is that how you are situated on Earth. This is just like your latitude and longitude, and this is just like your altitude. So how you are situated on the Earth, that's being explained through data. So it's also a mathematical concept. And then second part, after datum, it comes projection. Projection is simply because you have the globe, which is a three-dimensional, but once you are doing all those analysis, it's going to a two-dimensional. So it's two-dimensional map, but you need to make the three-dimensional globe into two-dimensional map. In this way, you are projecting. It is just like projection system. Simply, you have a bulb, and that in front of the bulb you have something, and then it's being projected on your wall. It is just like that. So you have a three-dimensional, and you are projecting into two-dimensional. While you are doing so, then it has to make use of mathematics. So it's a mathematical transformation. While you are transforming a three-dimensional to a two-dimensional, it's basically mathematical transformation. And that itself is a very, very complex method. Okay. So it is just for your general idea. I'm not going into details of that. You also need not to bother much, but at least you know that some of the scratch only, some of the things which you can also understand what is that one. So remember that one is datum, that is your position on the Earth, latitude, longitude, and your altitude, and then you are projecting your position onto a surface. So just like projecting the whole Earth onto a surface, so that's called projection. Okay, now let us just stop here and understand that what is about the spatial data. We talked many about the spatial data, and it is exactly the map which is being formed here. You see here, you have a shape of a particular, say, pond or a particular land parcel, and it is an irregular one, and it's a polygon separate. You have some area, some perimeters. You should know, it's all geography. You have another one, which is something, another feature on Earth, and then you have a distance. There is another feature, so it is more close to that one, so that's being proximity. And then this is at the left side of this, and this is at the down but right side of this one, and that's known as topology. So topology is the spatial relationship. So all those technologies, all those things are actually being done in the GIS, and you have to explicitly make your computer to understand these things while you are doing the digitization, or while you are taking those things into your computer system, and then you start analyzing. All those things has to be dealt with. Okay, so symbology is when you are preparing the map, and these you all know. When you're preparing the maps, you have all these are all your longitudes, and these are all your latitudes. So this is from the north-south direction, and this is east-west direction. And you have, these are all called position, and this is the characteristics of, you have symbology, you have spatial relationship, you have proximity, and you have distance. Okay, now coming back to that, we explained a little bit. Yes,
just a reminder, you have 30 more minutes. I'll give you another heads up in 15 minutes.
Fine. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So this vector and raster, these are two forms of the data, and both forms are used. Okay, so here you have a point data, and you see here, this is a maze of grids, you can say. These are all grids. So this is just like sieve, a square sieve, and then you have all different, this is all same sizes, each of them. We call it as pixels nowadays, after the remote sensing has come. We call it as pixels, but nevertheless, these are all grids, and small grids, it's 1 point. So 1 point comes here. You have lines, and lines are also joining the different grids, small grids, and then you are joining that one. And here also the polygon, you are doing the same thing. Now, what interestingly you can find, there is a difference. What is that one? In case of vector, can anybody tell me that what is the basic difference between these two? Please, just tell me. I mentioned this is the two way of expressing your real world. One is through vector, another is raster. What is the basic difference? Can anybody specify? Hello, am I audible? Any one of you?
Yeah, it may be 2D or 3D dimensional difference, I think.
Okay, but it's all 2D. I didn't mention it 3D. You have X and Y. In this case also you have row and column. So it's all 2D. It's all 2D. This is one dimension, second dimension. You have one dimension and another dimension. So what is the basic difference between these two?
Sir, vector data is analogous and raster data is digital data.
Pardon?
Sir, vector data is analogous data and raster data is digital data.
Yeah, you are partially, but not to the end. Anybody can try or yeah, please.
Vector are discrete value.
No, one at a time, please. One at a time, please.
The vector are discrete, but the raster is continuous.
Yeah, wonderful. That's one very important differentiation. Okay, then in terms of use,
Number of points
Press
in
space.
vector and raster.
In terms of storage space, in terms of its use, in terms of its manipulation, anything? Okay, just let me explain without wasting time. So if you see here, down we have 1, 2, and 3. In the first, you are have a very good, you can say good resolution. It's very clear. But here you don't have much clear view. Here you are more zooming and it's becoming blur. So what's happening here? It's happening because this particular area you can divide into smaller parts also. So you see here, your line is basically going like this, but your line is also taking a kind of, you can say path, where which you may partially blocking this one particular grid. So you may not take the whole grid. Suppose the line is going only through this one, so but you are taking the grid, and if this becomes more coarser, then you are taking more space. So for explaining one particular point, you are taking 5 meter, you may take 25 kilometer even. So what does it mean? One end is that it's kind of accuracy of the locational accuracy, it's getting disturbed. This is one point. And second is that if it is not getting disturbed, you have to make it more and more finer resolution. And when you are making more and more finer resolutions, your storage space also will be increasing, because you have to take all those empty cells also given a digital number. If you give it 0, it's okay, but you have to store it. Otherwise, it will not understand. In this case, it's not required. So there you are required a lot of storage space and lot of locational accuracy depending on the resolution. Okay, of course, nowadays there are many techniques. I'm not going to detail to that. Many techniques by which you will be actually bypassing those things. Okay, you are actually trying to use more and more or economically use the space and like that. Okay, so but fundamental difference, one participants has rightly said, one is the discrete, another is the continuous, and as it is discrete and continuous, these kinds of problems are there. Then why we deal with raster? Because of the remote sensing. Because you have nowadays more than 90% of the information comes from remote sensing, and you cannot deny that one, because it is all pixel. It is a picture element over by which you are collecting your information from the source. So you cannot neglect this particular mode of data collection. Okay, fine. I'm shifting to the next one. Okay, so I have two most important when you are preparing a map or doing the spatial analysis. This is all known to you. This is the North Pole, which is 90 degrees. You similarly have a South Pole, and you have a latitude and longitude. So what is basically latitude? Just refreshing our what is called learning, which in schools and colleges also. So this is the latitude. So this is the place. So this is the point. Remember, when you are standing here, you are standing normal to the surface. It doesn't necessarily that this normal will merge into the Earth's center of Earth. So when it's not that, so you see this is the center of the Earth, but it is not there. So this one is called the geographic latitude, And when you have going to the center, then it's called the geocenter. So forget about the I just wanted to mention to you that to show you that you are standing normal to the surface. You are not always directing towards the center of the earth. Okay, fine. So the latitude is what? So you have here the point and it is extending it there. So it is basically that what you are projecting onto the center of the earth. So this is the and remember it is a solid angle. Okay, so this is the 30-degree where as it says, and this is the longitude. For the longitude you need to have a prime meridian. Okay, so there are enough material which is available. Just go through it because understanding the latitude and longitude is very important for your GIS mapping. Okay, so this is called the geographic coordinate system. So there are two specific you can say two specific difference between two coordinate system. One we call it as geographic coordinate system, which are latitude and longitude. But when we take it into a map, it's not latitude or longitude. We are converting into an XY. We write the latitude longitude, but it's actually converts into XY. Now this is called your projected coordinate system. And now hell broke here. So that means every problem comes here. Up to this, there is no problem. But once you are putting into your a two-dimensional sheet or map, then the problem comes. Okay, so it is just like that. It's just a pictorial depiction that it is a prime meridian equator, and there you have 60 west and 15 south, and like that. So you are projecting it here. So here you remember it is all XY. So when you will be using the marketer projection system, in the system only marketer, MERCATUR, marketer projection system, you will be simply seeing that these are all in terms of these numbers. Okay, they are not in terms of latitude. But basically their latitude and longitude only converted into numbers. But this is called projected. Now when the projected comes, you find that this is our sweet globe, and we are trying to wrap it up using one cylindrical shape, using one conical shape, and using a flat shape. This is azimuthal, this is conic, and this is cylindrical. So this way you can wrap this one. It is just like wrapping one particular ball, football or tennis ball, by a paper, because that paper only you are flattening, and then you know what is this projected there. So you have some colors on the surface, and then you wrap this, and then if you just fold it out, and then you will find that how this image is being formed. But depending on, you see the particular man, how it looks, here it's something, here it's something, here it's something, here it's something. So this is a typical problem of the projection. So all these are the parameters which are distorted. Your shape may be distorted, your area may be distorted, your distance may be distorted between two positions, and your directions may be distorted. Suppose the say for example, the Africa is at the west side of India, but Japan is at the east side of India. So this direction, that also can be. And if it is something that it goes up and it goes down, there is a lot of distortion. So all these are the four major distortions when you are going for the projection. Okay, now I'm showing you one very interesting case. Okay, many of you are familiar with this map. In this map, you see the Russia, the Greenland is too big compared to Africa. But Africa is a very, very large continent. It is the second largest continent in the world. And if you take Africa, then the whole of Russia comes in, whole of US comes in, whole of China comes in, whole of Europe comes in, whole of Brazil comes in, whole of India comes in. And believe me, you will find lots of images in the what is called that in Google, that all these things can be accommodated, or everything comes inside Africa. But once it is projected, then Africa becomes smaller and these things have become larger. So that's an extremely difficult issue with the projection system. But I will show you one. So this will be, so before that, let me explain a little bit. Then I will show you one. I have a visual, this thing, so it will be more understandable to you. So what I mean to say is that Africa is a very big landmass, but in the map, it is shown a little bit of, say, lesser size compared to even the Russia and the US, but they are all, you see, actual sizes, they are all fitting into Africa. Okay. So this projection system is mostly used, marketer projection system. So depending on where you are, it is that you can change your projection system. But problem comes is that you are not isolated one. Suppose if you are somewhere here in Africa, then whether you are detached of the whole system, no, you are not detached, because if some flights are coming from this place to that place, or you are moving from here to there, or some floods are occurring, or some ocean currents are coming, then everything is linked. These are all landmass over the globe. So if you are doing the analysis, so you have to have a standard overall world projection system. You are following that with minimum distortion as far as applicable. But for you, so there are two. One is called a global datum system, another is a localized or regional datum system. So these are all beyond the scope of this lecture, but you please understand that this is the issue with the projection systems. Okay, so the marketer projection system, which is a conformal one, so you are finding that. So it is not there in Lambert. So then Lambert, what it says is it tries to you can say not distort the area. So it actually preserves the area. So if you have preserving the area, you see find that Africa is very big. So compared to any of the continent, see, it's fine that Africa is compared to this and this map. You compare these two, so you will find. Now let me show you this. I will. It will come or not. Let me. Okay. You see, this is one site I just wanted to show you. So this is the issue with this. You see, all are being fitted here: France, Germany, United States, India, China, even everything. Okay. So now you see this one. So this is the actual site. Now, once there is a projection, so it comes like that. Okay. So you are making a 3D into a 2D. So it is the actual. So don't take it. So it is not actually looking into the map, but it is actual size which is being shown here. It's an animation only. So you find that in Africa, the distortion is minimum. So it is as good as what it is, Africa. Okay, so there is not much changes, but other places are becoming, other countries becoming huge. You see Russia, how it coming. You see Greenland, the Greenland at the top left. You see how the sizes is increasing. So this is one issue. So it is preserving shape, it is preserving direction. Those are very, very important, but it's also distorting the area. Okay, so you come down. I have taken from this particular. So this, I think probably you now got my point. Okay, so I think I have few minutes left, maybe around 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you. You have last 15 minutes to wind
Yeah,
up
okay,
and
I have
address
one.
query.
Okay, I will look at this. Okay, so remember that the projection system is very important, because you are making a 3-dimensional into a 2-dimensional, but the which projection system you will be taking, that's also important. But as you are not an isolated place, so if you are using the global data, so you have to follow a certain rules and protocols. So your area is distorted, there is no doubt in that one, but you have to compromise in one sense, one way or to other. You are not, because if you are preserving the shape, your area will be distorted. If you want to preserve the direction, and then 4, I said about shape, area, distance, and directions. All 4s cannot be preserved by any of the projection systems. Okay, that's what's you. Okay, now I think probably this is the last slide. So I just wanted to show you that a typical graphic user interface. It's a GIS software. It's a ArcGIS. And there you will find today Dr. Purvi will be covering the QGIS, and she will explain to you in a more explain to you more in details. So the first one is your as you have in another any kind of you can say software, any kind of package, you will get this menu bar. So the menu bar are a simple way that it is everything together. Okay, so all things will be there. And this is a simple way to do the thing. So that is the basic functions will be all there. Insert, you're bookmarking that, or you have to edit that one, you can view that. And mostly you have to customize. That's what we're saying. And in GIS, this is the most important is geoprocessing. So the GIS, any GIS software, the strength is lies that how much geoprocessing it can support. Okay. So the next item is your table of contents. In the table of contents, you have all these information. Like say, if it is a table, you can have it. If it's a data layer, you will have it. So in as you know that when Purvi will be explaining to you, so in GIS basically you will have two forms. One is that you will have a map form, that's the locational form, or just simply we see a map, and second is your data, and both are tightly linked. So you have all the locational information, and along with that you have tables. With the tables you have two types of tables. One table will give you a locational information just like your latitude longitude, another is your attributes. So we call it as attribute data and we call it as non-attribute data. So the attribute data, so you have a spatial data and you have a spatial or non-spatial data. So you, if your table, you will maybe having a first column is the latitude or x, y, another second column will be your longitude or x and y. So your latitude will be your x and the latitude will be your y and longitude will be your x, as the x goes in this direction and y goes this direction, like that. So all those information are locational information that will be in a table, plus you will have different attributes. So what is the soil pH, what is the crop condition, what is the groundwater depth, everything relates to that particular location will be also in the table. So everything will be contained in this. It is just a container kind of thing. Okay, so here you will put everything, whatever layers, whatever data you are taking. So just be familiar with these things because these are important for progressing any sort of analysis. And this is what which is called toolbar, and this will give you a kind of, you can say, analysis capabilities. Okay, so you are using the toolbars, or you can simply bring this ARC toolbox from the georeferencing. So in the ARC toolbox, it is more of a detail, and here also you will find the zooming, and then you will find zooming in, zooming out, then selecting certain things and like that. This part is for display. So here it will have two kinds of. One is that you can have a data display and you can have a map display. So this is the layout models by which you can control that one. So you can see the tables over here, and you can see the maps. So when you are putting into the map overview or the map display window, then you will doing all the annotations. You will doing everything what you will do to prepare a map. And if you are manipulating the data as such using your toolbox, then it is visible here that how you are manipulating. It's, you see here that the map and both tables are there. So I called the tables and I highlighted 3 parts, and you see here also 3 or 4 parts, and here also it is highlighted. So it is all linked to that one. So as it is highlighted either here or either here, it will show that which part you are highlighting. So this is only to show that this is a spatial part of this GIS and this is a tabular part of the GIS, but both are very much linked. Then only you will do the analysis. Okay, this is my last slide. So I have given some textbooks which you can either, I think that most of the cases the PDFs are available, and you have some notes and some tutorials which are available online, that also you can go through it. This is for your reference only. So I stop here. If you have any questions, I think probably I have another 5 minutes to go. So if you have any questions, I will